What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and we are back with yet again another video on DMC5 SE, this time going over some more footage of Vergil and his gameplay. As always though, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with anything and everything at DevilNeverCry and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out when new content drops. So, yet again, I'm casually minding my business at work when my mentions blow up, and it turns out that more footage for Vergil had dropped and we got a plethora of new information to discuss. Now, I'm hoping to keep this video nice and brief, but if you want to see my initial reaction to all of the new Vergil content that we got to see today, there will be a stream highlight which I will have uploaded to the channel, over an hour of me looking at everything, dissecting everything, and discussing with everybody who was in the stream what exactly we got to see. But I digress. Let's begin with some of the new things we see for Vergil, and the first of which I want to discuss is Vergil and his Mirage Weapons. It turns out that Vergil indeed no longer has access to the Force Edge. He instead has access to a Mirage Edge, which seems to be a version of the Force Edge that he has conjured up for himself. It essentially acts the same as the Force Edge in DMC4 Special Edition, the exact same moveset, except with an added bonus which I'll get onto later in the video. Also, his summon swords have been renamed to Mirage Blades. Yet again, they serve the very same purpose as they did in DMC4 Special Edition, still having access to all of those special moves like the Blistering Swords or the Heavy Rain Swords. I guess the name change is meant to coincide with the fact that Vergil is all about illusions, as if he's a modern day Houdini. V is somewhat of a deception. The dreams he conjures up are again illusions made reality. So of course the Force Edge he's managed to conjure up is nothing but an illusion, hence the name Mirage. Next up, we have Beowulf, who seems to be surprisingly thick, if I do say so myself, in the sense that they look absolutely massive. It's as if Vergil just slapped his hands into a bunch of cement blocks and decided, yeah, this is going to be my devil arm from now on. Despite the fact that they are chunky, they are just as fast as they ever were, and they do an insane amount of damage. And just like the Mirage Edge and the Yamato, Beowulf also seems to have an insanely powerful move which is used to clear enemies and destroy bosses. The Yamato obviously has the Judgment Cut End, everybody knows this. Vergil used it in DMC4 Special Edition, and he also uses it in DMC5 in the boss fight. Well, it turns out that Beowulf and the Mirage Edge have their own similar versions of insanely overpowered moves. Beowulf has a nuclear ground slam, which seems to wipe out bosses completely. In this clip here you can see it destroy Cavalier. I'm not entirely sure what difficulty they're on, but needless to say it does a stupid amount of damage, and no doubt that hitbox is absolutely massive. And then the Mirage Edge also has some sort of crazy hectic Beyblade Vortex move, which if you're playing on Legendary Dark Knight difficulty and you've got a room full of enemies, this thing will absolutely shred through everything. People have already started nicknaming it the Blender, which, taking a look at the animation, you can already see why. Speaking of additions to Vergil's moveset and gameplay, Vergil now also has a block, which I guess makes sense thematically. In all the boss fights, Vergil has the ability to block our attacks and or parry us, so it makes sense that they'd give the player the ability to do the very same. It's a block that is tied to concentration. I believe you have to have at least level 1 concentration to pull off the block just before an enemy attacks, but if you have higher than level 1, say level 2 or level 3, Vergil will actually parry the enemy's move. I guess Vergil must have got sick and tired of being hit with the Royal Guard shenanigans in his boss fight and decided that he wants a piece of the action too. Another new change to Vergil in DMC5 Special Edition is the inclusion of both Sin Devil Trigger and Doppelganger for Vergil to use. Sin Devil Trigger works similar to how it works for Dante, in that there is a separate bar that needs to be filled using standard Devil Trigger stocks, but once that's filled you're able to access SDT. However, unlike Dante, there is no delay going in or out of SDT, meaning that Vergil will not have access to the Quad S skill as he doesn't need it. The Doppelganger mechanic is tied to the standard Devil Trigger bar and can be used in fact in conjunction with Sin Devil Trigger. It's mapped to the D-pad, allowing you to use 3 different types of Doppelganger, with the 4th D-pad input used to banish or get rid of the Doppelganger. One version of Doppelganger is normal, it attacks at the same speed as Vergil. The second type of Doppelganger is one that is slow, meaning that the Doppelganger will have a slight delay to copying your attacks. And then you'll have the Haste Doppelganger, which means the Doppelganger attacks slightly faster than Vergil does, these can be used for all kinds of setups. It's up to the player to mess around and see what they can do. But all in all, it works very similar to how it worked in the DMC reboot. That pretty much covers the main aspects of Vergil that we got to see, or at least some of the new aspects to him. I guess the last thing to touch upon is some of his taunts. We haven't actually seen Vergil's aerial taunt, so I'm wondering what it could be. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, by the way. I want to see what kind of interesting guesses you can come up with. But one of the taunts I do want to make note of is the fact that Vergil actually wields Nero's severed arm for a split second. I have no idea as to why. He talks about needing to do what must be done. I guess it's a callback to when he took Nero's arm, but it's very strange to be carrying around your son's severed arm, especially when its true form is a sword. Like, why? Like, why are you going to flex on enemies? I'm pretty sure the enemies themselves don't want to be seeing that sort of stuff. But that pretty much brings us to the end of all the new aspects of Vergil that we got to see. No doubt I've probably missed something, and if I have, again, do let me know down in the comments below. But as mentioned, if you do want to see the full breakdown and discussion, there'll be a separate hour-long video which you can grab your popcorn and watch. But all in all, Vergil seems to play very similarly to his DMC4 Special Edition incarnation, albeit with an expanded moveset and the Doppelganger mechanic, which I'm super pumped to get my hands on Vergil now. I was a little bit skeptical at first, especially when we barely saw anything of Vergil, and then a lot of time went by and we still didn't see very much of Vergil, despite the fact that he is the main draw and the fact that there's now, what, 7 days until the next-gen consoles launch. I think the Xbox launches early, right? Launches on the 10th, I believe. But we managed to get a big blowout for Vergil today, which is super cool. We also got a extended look at Legendary Dark Knight mode. Obviously, you guys have seen all the footage by now at this point. I wasn't honestly expecting them to be that many enemies, especially in some of these tight or enclosed spaces, particularly in the hotel, which is nothing but narrow corridors and small rooms. They absolutely jam-pack the rooms full of enemies, but seeing Vergil just decimate all of them, it doesn't seem like that much of a challenge. But then again, Vergil has always been an overpowered character, and it looks like he's going to stay that way for DMC5 Special Edition. But do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. You hyped for Vergil? Were you expecting more? I know a lot of people are happy with Vergil, but some were expecting to see perhaps other weapons or perhaps some other modes, maybe some more cutscenes and such. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And of course, if you do want to catch me streaming this game, I will be streaming over on twitch.tv/DevilNeverCry. Plenty of you turned up for the reaction analysis discussion stream I did for all of this footage, and that is where I'll be streaming hopefully my platinum playthrough of DMC5 SE, where I'm hoping to platinum the game on stream, however long it takes. I think it took a couple of weeks for DMC5, which again, plenty of you saw on YouTube. I want to be suffering through all of that again. I do hope they have fixed the ranking system, but I guess time will tell. That is going to wrap up the video. I'll stop waffling now. It has been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.